If our value na to come enter government to chop and enjoy ourselves, then this na something we go test for our political space if e go fly or not. Before now na to share the money give some people, buy votes, rig elections and do wetin we like, but today e no be so again. Edo State Governor Obaseki talk this one for the one-day onboarding program for the newly inaugurated commissioners wey the team na finishing strong for John Odige Oyegun Public Service Academy for Benin City on Monday, June 19, 2023. Obaseki con charge the newly inaugurated commissioners on ogbonge service delivery to the people of Edo State to sustain the ongoing reforms and programs to improve the livelihoods of residents and put the state for the path of economic growth and development.
We let people who are joining government, the new government we are creating, know what the institution they are joining or coming into, what the expectations are, what is going on at this point in time, and what we expect their own contributions to be. If the value is that we are here to come and chop, then I think it's something we should test in the political space, whether it will fly today or tomorrow. In the past, yes, share the money. You give a few people things, you're able to go through the political process, buy votes, rig, do whatever you want to do. Today, thank God all of you are political appointees. You cannot. We saw it here. Many of you came on a very, very high note. People came in, very happy, excited that quite a number of you have been appointed into Edo State government as commissioners. The expectations are very high. And you don't have to worry because, like I said, there's nothing to prove again. What you just need to do is to make sure you stay on top of issues, you understand what we're trying to do, and avoid a lot of small side talks that just don't add value or benefits. Keep your eyes on the ball. The next 6 to 12 months, where do you need to let the world know that we have achieved or you're sitting on? Our politics is very straightforward. If you don't deliver services, the people will not come out and vote for you. Simple. And you cannot rig. Is that clear? So don't worry about the politics. Just worry about the work. See how we can deliver, how we can carry our people along.
Obaseki con talk say even with the amount of work wey dem dey do, you go still see the amount of expectation from the people and society, and particularly the young people, as dem dey vex say dem no understand why we country not be like other countries. E con tell the commissioner say dem no go fit continue with the old ways of doing things, and say dem must understand say this new value calls for service. Obaseki con still express his disappointment for the performance of some permanent secretaries for the past few weeks, and say from now on, im go dey hard on them. Sake of say for the last 4 to 5 weeks wey commissioners not take day, all the memos wey dem send na only to spend money and nothing about policy. E con say dem go sit down and talk as im get the records and im sabi read, and im don't understand why e dey cause problems between the permanent secretaries and commissioners. Obaseki con talk say if we must finish strong, we must get permanent secretaries with technology to give ogbonge service delivery to Edo people.
Even with the amount of work we're doing, you can see the expectation from society. We cannot continue the old way. People must just understand that the new values call for service. That members of the public, particularly the young people, are very angry. They are angry. They don't understand why when they watch television, they go on social media, their own society is so depriving compared to other places. And they ask themselves, why should we be here? Why should we stay here? It's an indictment on us. So you've joined this team. The last 6 years, there's nothing we practically haven't seen. We've made significant progress. We need to communicate that progress. There's still so much more to do. A lot to do. And let me just tell my permanent secretaries here, I am sorry. I am going to be quite hard. Because I watched very carefully the last 4 or 5 weeks when commissioners were not here. I read most of your memos, and there are about 4 or 5 ministries that were just particularly bad. 80% of the memos that came from some ministries was just how to spend money on activities, rent canopies, do this one, do that one. I mean, I just sat down and said, nothing to do with policy. Nothing to do with policy. How can they just spend small money? 5 billion here, approved for us to do this, approved for us to... That was all it was all about. and you are a permanent secretary, look, we're going to have conversations, honestly. We are going to have conversations. And I'll show you, because I kept records of all of them. The good thing is I read. And I can see why it will create a crisis between you and your commissioners. And if we're going to finish strong, we are not going to have weak permanent secretaries. We must have strong permanent secretaries. Is that clear? How do we ensure that we create a high-performance civil service to make sure we're able to use the limited resources we have to do so much more? And it's not very difficult. It's just about accountability. You'll find you have a staff role, a list of people who are supposed to be working under you. How many, my experience is that the heads give cover. You don't check who's working under you, who is being paid, that comes to work. In fact, you do them a favor. Sometimes they're abroad. They're outside the states. Nothing is given to them to do, and they get salaries for doing no work. Even those who come in to go to the office, how do they account for what they do while they're in office? So you find out that only a few people do the bulk of the work in any agency and ministry. If we don't change that, we will not have a high-performing organization. The last is about our values.
The Secretary to Edo State Government, Osarajon Oge Esquire, where they represented by the Edo State Head of Service, Anthony Okungbawa, contacted.
We'll give you a dollar-directed your portfolios, but over the next 1 week, the things in the director of the government, you will study that, and then your KPIs will also be there. You will study them with your permanent secretary. And that's what your permanent secretary will be here to listen to you, and will also be contributing to these conversations. So that's the second part. At the end of the day, you will sign your performance contract with the government. That will end officially the second phase of the program. But for today, the program objectives are first, we intend to use this program to help you to understand the organizational structure and the reporting relationships. This is very important because we feel that if you do not have a grasp of this, there will be a problem in the future. So we'll be talking you through what the organizational structure and the reporting relationships are within the service. Of course, we also use the opportunity to talk about public service rules. What are they? But you will be working within public service settings. You need to know what the rules are, and then how they affect your work, how they affect people that are going to superintend over. And of course, we'll talk about the code of conduct and ethics in the public service. Today we have people from the code of conduct bureau who will be talking to us about what we need to do concerning that. Very importantly, communication, because oftentimes that's a problem in service. We have seen situations where there are issues between commissioners and their permanent secretaries. Sometimes we have to go through hell trying to resolve those issues. How can we link those issues to the board? How can we ensure that those issues don't arise at all? I used to say that settling the matter between the commissioner and the permanent secretary is more difficult than winning the case in the Supreme Court. So I've had that difficulty, message myself and the chief of staff, having difficulties trying to resolve some of those issues. So why don't we just, before they arise at all, try and deal with them? So that's the whole essence of that. So how do you communicate within the system? And of course, one of the things we haven't done well as a government, and that because has been, we haven't spoken enough about what this administration has to do. I've been here for a long time, since 1999, since the start of the democratic dispensation. And I've seen governments come and go. And I've said this again and again and again. There has been not one of the governments that have come and gone that has done as much as this administration has done in impacting on the people and impacting we have those those that's an acronym, those state transmission and enhancement projects in service. What has been the impact of that project? What have we achieved? What is left to be achieved? How do we ensure that we have information about what we need to do to ensure that that program succeeds and succeeds very well? By the grace of God, resource person will come in to talk to us about what we need to do in terms of internal communication and external communication. Professor Tony Irede, I'm sure you all know him, is almost here now. He will talk to us about that later in the day. Then, very importantly, the use of technology. And I don't know. Today, we are the most digitalized public service in the whole of this country. And I see that no state comes close to us in terms of the use and adoption of technology. So we'll be talking about that. What role will you be playing in accentuating that and ensuring that we achieve what Mr. Governor intends to achieve concerning it? Mr. Governor has just directed that by September 1st, all processes of government, there will be no more paper in government. So I think that we must be conscious of that and work towards that. And you will see exactly what has happened over time. And as I said earlier, unfortunately, we haven't put enough of that in the public domain. And we have allowed, negative narrative to dominate, discourses in the public domain, which has not been very good for us in view of what this administration has done. So much that has been done better and better than every other one has done before this president. So we should dominate the public space with a lot that the governor has been doing to do concerning procurement. Sometimes we get it wrong. So what do we need to do? Somebody will get to talk to us about that. Then organizational and individual performance management. One of the things that government has succeeded in doing is the way our politicians, society emphasize that. You're politicians, so it's not possible for you to say you are not a politician because you represent an interest, you represent local government areas, so you must be the mouthpiece of government in those local government areas. And so it's important that we recognize that. Then finally, he said government operates via formal rules. And so it's important you take note of that so that in dealing with government business, you don't just verbally direct. And then he said that we also add this, which is that when you're leaving town, it's important that you mention it to the executive or to the chief of staff. And then when you're leaving this country, the governor must be aware.
From Benin City, A. Carter Ojesele, TMC TV News.